so everyone thinks of you as an investor, but
Right.
Union Square Ventures was a startup in a lot of ways, and I
Right.
think in particular, more so than most VCs, in that you had a specific kind of business plan that you carefully researched. And I remember you telling me some things about how
Right.
you'd like read a bunch of books and like had this whole thesis, and particularly around web apps. And I know you were very successful in the 90s, but I think like everyone probably, I'm guessing, struggled
Yeah.
after that, and
Right.
probably when you raised your fund, it wasn't.
Well, the
Totally
firm
easy.
the firm I had in the 90s, Flatiron Partners, essentially folded. I mean, actually, it still exists, and I manage a very small legacy portfolio that was much bigger at one time, but we've managed to exit most of those deals. But in reality, Flatiron had a great run, and then the market blew up, and we were left kind of picking up the pieces, and that was not a great experience. I wrote a blog post about failure yesterday, and at some level that was a failure, even though from a financial point of view it was wildly successful, but we lost the firm, right? So that was, in my mind, a bad outcome. And I went through, a period in 2001 and 2002 of self-reflection, trying to figure out, okay, what makes sense in the venture capital business.
Did you know you were going to do another venture firm?
I knew it.
Okay.
Like the day that I realized that Flatiron's time had come and it wasn't going to continue to exist, the first thing that went in my mind was, I'm going to prove all these people wrong, who weren't willing to keep going with us, that, there's a lot of money to be made in this internet thing, and there's a lot of money to be made with Fred Wilson. It's a chip on my shoulder, and I still carry it, and I probably carry it, to my grave. But I think that's what makes me.
And then you joined up with, so you had a co-founder basically.
Yeah, partnered up with Brad, and Brad was perfect because he had almost all the same set of experiences that I did. He was at AT&T Ventures. AT&T shut down their venture capital business, so he had kind of the same chip on his shoulders I had on mine. But the difference is that Brad's very thoughtful, kind of strategic thinker, and he said, we need to write a business plan. Like, we need to actually figure out what we're going to go invest in before we go raise the money. And so we did that, and we did a whole bunch of analysis, and we concluded that the infrastructure layer of the internet had largely been built, and sort of the routers and switches and infrastructure software and all that stuff that had provided a lot of the returns in the 90s wasn't going to be the place to make money, and that it was the application layer of the internet, web apps, now mobile apps too, but at the time we weren't even thinking mobile apps, was where we wanted to invest. And we wrote a whole thesis about it. We read Carlotta Perez, which I mentioned to you, great book that she wrote about, over history, looking at technological revolutions and the way that they kind of go. And we went out, we wrote a business plan, we went out and we spent a year trying to convince people that this made sense. Nobody wanted to invest in internet. Nobody wanted to invest in venture capital.
I mean, internet was like I was still doing internet. It was like a punchline. Like people would say pets.com, and like they would start like I have some of my best friends now. They're like, I met them because they were like at the time like, hey, you should meet this guy. He also thinks the internet's not stupid. Right. Like it was like that rare,
We were basically shown the door after 10 minutes. People were like, internet? You're kidding me, right?
Yeah.
We lost like $100 million on the internet like a year and a half ago. Like, get out.
Because people I think a lot of the younger entrepreneurs they don't realize that like pre-Google IPO or whatever, like people actually thought you couldn't make. It was like this great invention that no one would ever make money on or something, right? Or I don't know.
Exactly. No, people thought it was a scam. People thought it was total, like a money hole that you just kept pouring money into and no money would ever come out.
So you really had to work hard to raise money.
Yeah. 6 months into it, we had no commitments.
Even after the Flatiron success.
Yeah, Brad had even better track record than I did. But we were telling a story that people didn't want to buy at the time. But that's also very good because we closed our fund in November of 2004 at a time when the internet was still not in vogue.
It's a great vintage, as they say.
It's a great vintage. In the venture business, the best vintages are the ones, they say it's always darkest right before the dawn.
Yeah.
That's when you want to raise the venture fund, right? Because by 2005 and 2006, it was already starting to become clear that there was real business. Google had gone public, the whole monetization system that they had built up around search and text advertising.
The other good time was 2008 or 2009, which, like, for me at least, is turning out to be one of my best times.
Right.
That's when everyone was like, it's the end of the world, and
Yeah.
again, and
Different kind of end of the world, right? That was like the financial blow up.
I mean, everyone in the VC world was like literally talking about Great
well,
Depression,
remember,
like
R.I.P. Right? Sequoia.
yeah. I mean, it was like literally Great Depression. Like I had smart friends who were like, we're entering another Great Depression.
If you go back and read the ABC blog from the fall of 2008, I was writing these blog posts like, the internet's not going to be affected by this. We've got this, momentum going with the internet where more and more business is moving to the internet. This is about like the old world collapsing. This is about car companies collapsing, banks collapsing.
Yeah.
I don't think Amazon's business is going to get hurt. I don't think Google's business is going to get hurt. I don't think Apple's business is going to get hurt. Like, go buy these stocks. Apple's trading at like 8 times earnings. Google's trading at 10 times earnings. And I was buying these stocks. And it's a great time to start a venture fund.
Yeah.